everyone, and welcome to our final video in the How to Teach Go series. In this video, we're going to talk about the conclusion from all the methods that we've taught and teach their student how to study. So in conclusion for all these videos and these methods are basically for teaching a student over long periods of time. Like for example, if you give private lessons or you're teaching a friend or something like that. This video is not how to teach Go this series is not how to teach Go in under 5 minutes, which you can do. Now, granted, that everyone has their own style for teaching, and this entire series was dedicated on my style and my experience for teaching. So it's not a how-to guide for the only way to teach Go. It's more of a how-to guide if you want some more advice on how to teach Go, or you aren't sure how to teach it yourself. Well, these are my methods and my experience and my ideas. So they're not the only way to teach it, and I hope you guys did find it helpful in your own styles and can apply it in your own way. Now, a little bit about teaching this over time. While these are good methods for teaching them over time, not every student wants to be taught over long periods of time. For example, some want to be taught very quickly and just want to get to it in 1919 and start playing games. Encourage that. Let them do that. So I've taught this over an extended period of time, so you know how to teach all these different things. But some students want to learn only one or two specific things. So for example, they just want to learn how to play the game and get started and go. So in that case, you could teach one or two or three things that you learn from this series or that you find are useful and important to know, and then let them run with that until they come back with more questions. Many players or many people that want to learn in 5 minutes, play a couple times, and then never want to play again. And so that means you'll have about 5 minutes to teach all the rules of Go and get them playing on a small board, medium-sized board, or big board, depending on what you have, and then let them play once or twice, and then they may never play again, which is fine. You just introduced them to the game and gave them the option. Unfortunately, this game isn't for everyone. Not everyone likes it as much as I wish they did. Some people don't like thinking games, or some people want simpler games with simpler concepts or ideas. Some want the game to be more obvious, like you only have 2 options instead of 361 options to start with. Therefore, teach the ones that can be taught. Don't push them too hard. Let them learn at their own pace. Don't rush all the information. Some players want to learn faster than others. Some players want all the information immediately, and some players want some information and just want to play. And then some players will take their time and learn it one by one. While some students that if I'm giving them lessons per week, like for example, I got some new beginner players that are taking it per week, I teach them using these methods over time. But other students that, for example, I Go clubs or just want to stop by at a store or something, just learn how to play for a few times, or a friend that just wants to play really quick and then go do something else or play a video game, I'll teach them in a shorter method, and I'll probably just teach them the liberties and rules, and then open corners, and then open sides, and then reducing the area and finish the game. And I'll just teach that. And it'll be very quick, very concise, very short, and it'll enable them to understand the capture rule and make points and finish the game. They'll learn those 3 things, and that's it. They won't know any strategies. They won't know how to attack, defend, cut, all that stuff. And that's fine, because they only want to play and have fun, but they're not a dedicated long-term Go player yet. And if they play and have fun, that's much more important, because if they play, they have fun, they may come back and try again. And that's what you want to happen more and more. When they come back and try again and come to you with more questions, then you can teach these things when they're ready for it or when they ask for it. So you have to adjust your teaching style to the student and always try to just let the student have fun and be happy and enjoy the game. That is the best way to get a dedicated Go player. When they have questions about certain things, then you can teach them those certain things, and hopefully you know how to teach those certain things. So now we get to this, and let's say your student learns the rules, learns it step by step, and is asking, okay, now I know this stuff, and now I'm on the 1919, where do I go from here? Well, now you have to teach them how to study, because you're not going to be able to teach them every bit of Go information all the time, and you may not even see them every day, more times than not, unless it's a sibling or brother or mother, who knows. But likely they're going to have to study on their own at some point, and you should teach them how to study. And this is when you could teach how to study Joseikis or how to study openings, review pro games, review online Joseki dictionaries, get a life and death book or something like that, buy books, play online on online Go servers for practice, ask questions on online Go servers, get teaching games on online Go servers. So recommend them your favorite books, your favorite Go servers, pro players, your favorite pro players. Don't overwhelm them like with all the pros. You can say, here's where you can go to look for pros, but they're not going to know who to look for. So recommend them someone. Recommend Shuzaku, or recommend Go Seigen, or recommend the current top player. Like now it's Kujay, and there's famous Lee Sedol. A lot of people know Lee Sedol nowadays, but it may be someone else when you're watching this video. There may be another top player. So recommend like your favorite player, or the top player in the world, or this player or that player, and say you can look at their games. And don't worry about the pro games being too complicated or whatever. Just play it. Tell them to play like 100 moves and just get a feel of the game, flow of the game. Don't worry about memorizing it. Don't worry about understanding every single move. Just replay it and learn from it and see how they build their positions or how they fight or something like that. And then when you're teaching them the opening and Joseikis, give them the free Joseiki dictionaries or Joseiki books that you like. And there's free Joseiki dictionaries online. You can ask them Go servers or forums. The one I'm most familiar with is Joseikipedia.com. Joseikipedia.com is a common one. And there's itago.com, and you can Google those, or there might be a new one in the future when you're watching this video. There might be new ones or other ones. So you can recommend to your students your favorite Go server, your favorite Joseiki dictionaries, your favorite books, and your favorite pro players, and teach them where to look for the information. And they can just pick the information that they want to study. And if they ask you how to study, my advice for how to study each of these things. Each of these things have their own uniqueness and their own method, and you can learn different things at different times. But for openings, I would recommend 2 to 3 pro games a week, or if they're really, really dedicated, 2 pro games a day. Uh, just so that way you get an idea. You can recommend, or you can say you replay pro games whenever you want. It's something to learn from, but it shouldn't be the focus. Focus is always to play games and apply what you learn. And another way to study is Joseki. Josekis should not be memorized. Josekis should be studied and understood. And it's very important distinction to say Josekis are only Josekis on certain positions. And this is a big mistake that many players make the mistake of. Even experienced players make this mistake. They learn a Joseki, they understand how it works locally, and then they don't play it in the right positions. They play Joseki in the wrong direction because it's their favorite Joseki, or they play Joseki on a position where it should not be played because it's the Joseki that they know, but they don't understand, and they understand it locally, but they don't understand it globally. And just say it's more important to be in the right direction, or the most open side, or open area, or something like that, and pick the Joseki that can go in that direction. And then you figure out what Joseki options are possible to go in that direction. So if you want to just teach them a basic Joseki, you could teach them one at a time, so 1 Joseki for each corner. So this is a very common one that's being played nowadays. This is being experimented with as well, so I won't go to all the complications in that. But that's a common one. This is a very easy one. You can just play it this way. That's a very easy one. Star point. This is an easy one to show. It's also very common. And if they want to play high, that's an easy one to show. Or here, depending on what's in the corner. And for this one, this is another easy one to show if you want to show that one. And if they want to play one space approach, then it's similar to the 3-4. You just play this way, or here, or here. All are possible. I think the simplest one for the beginner is probably going to be this one. It's the least amount of aji. And you can show those. Those will be the first ones that they learn, and if they ask you for Josekis for certain positions, you can show the simple ones and just say, here's one for you to play around with, get used to, and then look up the rest. But I'm very cautious about this because, again, that will get them playing it, and since it's the only one they know. I'd rather them figure out which side's the open side, and then find the Joseki that goes in that direction. So, for example, if I play this way, and the top's the most open side, but I'm playing this Joseki because it's the only one I know, then perhaps white's getting more on the global board. And this is not a good Joseki choice if the top side's about the most open side. So for example, I would say if the top side is the big side, you should learn the pincer, which is a simple pincer variation. Here, then here, and then simply play a simple variation. And this could be an option for black. But it's more important for them to understand that the direction is more important than the variation. As long as you're playing in the right direction, then learn that first. Then you can figure out what josekis follow after that. And whenever you don't know a joseki, look it up. Every single game, review that game and look up what josekis you didn't know that came about in that game and look it up and learn it for next time. This is the best way to learn josekis, in my opinion, because you will always encounter the positions that come up in your games. You'll always encounter josekis, more or less. And you'll need to know what josekis are being played in the positions that you're playing. Those are the best ones to learn first. And eventually you can learn josekis one by one. So let's say you learn one joseki or two josekis every single game. If you play 100 games and learn at least one joseki for all 100 games, then you'll learn 100 joseki. And there's thousands of josekis to learn. And there's no way you're going to be able to teach them every single one, and there's no way they're going to be able to learn and understand every single one. So the only way to learn it is to play it one at a time and study it one at a time and practice it one at a time and learn it over time. Therefore, let them play games, show them the joseki that pop up in their game, or when you review their games, show them what joseki choice they could have played in this direction, and let them learn it one at a time from their own games and their own experience, depending on which ones pop up. The direction is more important in josekis than the joseki itself. But understanding the joseki and what it does and how it's used in that position is also very important. But it's more important to play joseki correctly than it is to memorize the exact variation. All right, so anyway, that's about josekis. Then we get into Go problems. Go problems. Everyone either loves or hates this, or maybe they're not so loud, but either way, Go problems are so important and so undervalued in the West. And it's one of my weaknesses, actually. I don't do enough Go problems, but I am a Westerner, and honestly, I really hate Go problems, but it's very important to improve. Go problems are basically your practice for reading, and reading in this game is vital, vital, vital. So Go problems for a player that's studying and practicing every day, Go problems should be done every single day. And even for casual players, Go problems should be done every single day. You don't have to do a lot, you just have to do them every day. So for example, if you could do 2 to 4 problems every single day for a year, you're likely going to be very good at reading and very good at fighting. And since fighting is where most games are decided, you're probably going to be, very strong. So that means Go problems are probably the secret for Western players to improve. The reason I say Western is because Asian players are forced to do them growing up in their schools. They are forced to do them every day, and they do hundreds of them, if not thousands over years. So doing Go problems is a highly undervalued skill, and I recommend everyone to do it, and I recommend you tell your student or beginner or person that you're teaching to do it. Do it all the time. If you are playing games, you should do 60% games, 20% Go problems, and 20% study pro games, and do review your games and study books. So those are 3 things in 20%, and Go problems should be 20%, and 60% should be playing your games. So you play games, you gain experience, you practice the things you study, you do 20% Go problems, and then you 20% review your games, look at the positions, look up the positions, ask your friends, go over other games, go over pro games, and read books and materials and learn more material. And then, of course, you practice and implement the stuff you learn, and then repeat the process. So practice, 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 do Go problems, and study. And that's basically how to improve at Go at every level. It's not just beginners, it's every level. It's very important to study, but also very, very important to play and do Go problems. But anyway, that is basically it for this series. I hope you guys enjoyed the series and found it helpful. Hopefully you will be able to use these methods or positions that I taught or strategies that I taught. Hopefully you'll be able to use these to better explain how to play Go and how to improve at Go to beginners or your students. If you have your own ways of teaching stuff, that is completely fine and actually encouraged. You should use this as advice to hopefully help build your own teaching style and teach beginners in your own way. So again, this series is not the only way to teach Go. It's just something that I'm doing to give advice on how I teach, and hopefully that will help you teach beginners or other players and teach your students in the future. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the series. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in my next series.